Good evening, Burbank. It is November 9th. Welcome to the Parks and Recreation Board meeting. I'm happy to have you all here. We have an audience full of members of our public, so it's nice to see all of your friendly faces in here. Let's get started. Can you please join me with saluting the flag? Please stand and put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Mr. Chad Thompson, can you read the roll call?
Chair Maisha Gamino.
Here.
Vice Chair Lori Durbin.
Here.
Board Member Ashley Ramsey.
Here.
Board Member Ara Masurlian.
Here.
And Board Member Mickey DiPaolo.
Here.
Thank you.
We have multiple announcements tonight. Can I welcome Ms. Lara to share those with us?
Good evening, Chair Gamino, members of the board. Thank you to everyone joining us this evening. My name is Christina Lara, Recreation Coordinator in the Park and Recreation Department. Tonight, I have the pleasure of sharing the department's program announcements and updates. Please begin the slideshow. Come and join us on Friday, November 10th at 10:15 a.m. for an unforgettable Veterans Day ceremony. We will be gathering at McCambridge Park War Memorial, located at the corner of Amherst Drive and San Fernando Road, to honor and pay tribute to our brave veterans. For additional information, please visit burbankca.gov/Parks and Rec. Attention all artists. The City of Burbank Parks and Recreation Department and the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission are launching a pilot arts grant program to support local artists and art organizations and to engage Burbank residents with diverse and outstanding cultural arts projects. Available grants range from $1,000 to $5,000. For more information and to apply, please visit burbankca.gov/community arts grant. The application deadline is on December 5th, 2023. Join us for our next story time at Stowe Canyon Nature Center. Story Owl Hour is perfect for ages 2 to 5 who have an interest in nature-related topics. Participants will enjoy a staff-led story and have the option to check out books at the end of story time. Spaces are limited, so please register today. Hikes for Tykes is back. Bring your little ones ages 2.5 to 5 and enjoy a morning hike through the Verdugo Mountains. This nature-themed morning includes a fun craft and activity as long as a morning hike through the mountains. Registration is currently open, but don't wait, spots fill up fast. To learn more about this event or any events at Stowe Canyon Nature Center, visit burbankca.gov/Nature Center. The Burbank Parks and Recreation Department, in partnership with Valley Cultural Foundation and the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission, presents the Fall Festival, A Night in the Park, on Saturday, November 18th, 2023, at Johnny Carson Park. This free festival will feature a live concert, food trucks, art vendors, and a showing of the classic movie, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, celebrating the film's 30th anniversary. The concert will begin at 2:15 p.m., with performances from Angela O'Neill and the Outrageous Eight, Guitar Ninjas All-Stars, and Christine Hovan and Vahe. The movie starts at 5 p.m. See you there. Attention all golfers. DeBell Golf Course invites you to this year's Thanksgiving tournament. Play early and be home just in time for turkey. Reservations open today, Thursday, November 9th, through the Pro Shop or by phone at 818-845-0022. Our next Wild Creatures Walk is the perfect opportunity to get your little ones moving. Learn about the Verdugo Mountains and the kind of animals that call the mountains home. All ages are welcome. To learn more and to register, visit www.burbankca.gov/Nature Center. The Holiday Boutique at the Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center is truly the event of the year. Get ready to discover an amazing selection of unique gifts and crafts that will delight everyone on your holiday list. You can explore this fabulous boutique from December 1st to December 14th. For more information, visit burbankarts.com. The holidays are almost here, and we couldn't be more thrilled. Get ready for some fantastic community events that will make this season even more special. Mark your calendars for the Mayor's Tree Lighting on December 2nd, where we'll gather as a community to light up the city with holiday cheer. Join us on December 9th for a delightful breakfast with Santa. Grab your little ones and experience the magic of meeting Santa Claus himself while enjoying a morning meal together. And as the year comes to an end, we have one last celebration in store. Get ready to ring in the new year with our New Year's Eve party on December 31st. It's the perfect family-friendly event you don't want to miss. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Burbank_Parks and Rec to keep up with the latest event news. Thank you. This concludes the department announcements.
Thank you so much, Ms. Laura. And you have another presentation,
I do.
correct? Please
Yes.
share that.
So again, good evening, Chair Gamino and members of the board. My name is Christina Lara, and I'm the Recreation Coordinator that oversees Stowe Canyon Nature Center. Thank you for having us here tonight to recognize and thank all of those involved with making this year's Haunted Adventure possible. The Haunted Adventure is a community event that the Parks and Recreation Department hosts at the Starlight Bowl. The Haunted Adventure began in 1997 and has continued to be a community favorite year after year. The event includes an elaborate 15-minute haunted maze through the entire venue, with each year encompassing a different theme. This year's theme, Harvest of Horror, turned the Starlight Bowl into a haunted family farm, featuring a local farmer's market, greenhouse, corn maze, graveyard, torture rooms, family quarters, and pumpkin patch areas. Brave community members participated in a self-guided tour through a variety of spooky scenes with plenty of scares along the way. This year, we were excited to add a fourth night, and in addition to bringing back our carnival held in Stowe Park. The event brought in over 1,100 visitors over the course of the 4 nights. This event is led by the Stowe Canyon Nature Center team, which includes recreation leaders Chris Chan and Diana Fowler, work trainee Amber Dyer, recreation supervisor Noah Altman, and myself. The Haunted Adventure is a total scream effort. The event would not be possible without the incredible group of volunteers that consist of our scene leads, scare actors, carnival assistants, and last but not least, the individuals that help with all of the areas around the scare areas. In addition to individual volunteers, we work with community partners including ISS Prop House, Handy Market, Disney Volunteers, and Generation DCD. Many of the scene leads, companies, and volunteers have been a part of this event for many years, and it is because of them that this event is always a success. The scene leads donate their time, energy, and talent, and bring an event that brings a night of joy to hundreds of people in our community. Our scene leads are remarkable and volunteer more hours than we even get to see, as this event takes months of preparation. Altogether, we had over 40 volunteers with over 700 hours of volunteer service. A huge thank you to all the volunteers for their fake blood, sweat, and fears. Although not all were able to make it out tonight, we want to thank everyone who assisted in creating a terrifying yet fun event this year. Their involvement in this event is just one example of why our community is so great. At this time, I would like to invite Chair Gamino to assist me in handing out certificates of recognition for those that were able to make it out tonight. First, I would like to invite up our spectacular scene leads. Michael Allen, Marie Dyer, Sierra Dyer, Jill Jones, and Brett Yance. Next up are magnificent volunteers that have helped with setup, scare acting, and other different event areas. So first we have Sophia Anguiano, Dakota Benz, Eileen Gutierrez. Amelia Maschek. April Rodriguez. Audrey Serrano. Ian Serrano. Kayla Cabral. And Owen Southey. Thank you all for your wonderful volunteer service. We're going to take a picture.
I'd like to invite my fellow board members to join, please.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to say a few words. You guys got to squeeze in front a little bit. We work together. Right in the center, girl. Brent, you can come in this way. We're going to need a couple of rows. Come this way for me. There we go. Come in this way. Come in this way. Come on now. This way. How did you get next to me? Yeah. Michelle, you can stay behind. There we go.
Put your head in between their heads.
Just have April and Ian like.
Okay, look at me. Ready? One. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. Perfect. Thank you.
Take this and this. Here you go, Tina.
Thank you again so much. It's so great to be able to congratulate all of you in person. I had a great time at the Haunted Mansion, and I know many of us went, so got lots of scares. Definitely, if you heard screaming, it was me. Okay, now it's time for the department director report. Ms. Garcia.
Good evening, Chair Gamino and board members. I do not have an update this evening.
Okay, thank you. Now is the time for public comment. For general public comment, members of the public who are here in person and wish to speak, please present a yellow completed comment card. It looks like this. And please present that to the recording secretary. Any person wishing to speak may address the Parks and Recreation Board on any matters related to Parks and Recreation Board. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, and in order to promote fairness, please stay within your maximum allotted time of 3 minutes. There is a timer available at the podium to help the speaker keep track of how much time is left. Before you, or as you come to the podium, please make sure you say your name for the record. I also encourage anyone who's joining in online to call us. You can call in and share your general public comment. You can call 818-238-3335. Again, 818-238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until all in-person comments have been received. For callers, please remember to lower the volume on your TV or your computer. Take your phone off of speaker as you speak. And at this time, we'll begin with our in-person comments. And the first card that I have is Garen Yagopian. Nice to see you again, Garen.
Good morning. Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. It's been a little over a decade since I was up there, and one of the issues I'm here to talk to you about tonight is something I brought up then that I think has hyper-ripened after 15 years. There are two things I want to talk to you about. The first one's a little easier and quicker, and it's something that I'd actually brought up with Mickey just before COVID. So it's been stewing for a little while, and it's appropriate on the eve of the Veterans Day event to bring this one up. I've spoken to the Sierra Club group in the area, and they're interested, if the board, the department, and the Veterans Committee is interested. The cedar tree under which we hold the Veterans and Memorials Day event has been shedding branches, I think, over the years. So the idea I'd presented to Mickey was, let's do at one of the events in the near future, a tree planting. And the Sierra Club's interested in helping out with that. If there's interest, please contact me, and then we can work out details if it's deemed appropriate. The other issue is something that has been bugging me for actually much longer than even when I was on the board, but it's the old dumps, the two that are closed up above Bel Air, that extend up to Lockheed View Road. And I hope you'll give me just a few seconds extra, because I have to ask a yes or no question about this. When I was looking at the department's website, there are two different maps that represent that area in two different ways. One shows it as part of Stow Park, the other one doesn't. My memory of it is that it's not formally part of the park. Has that changed in the last decade, Marissa? No. Okay, then I can proceed with what I was going to do. That area, those are two dumps which were closed by 1970. Some of these details are from when I brought this issue up back then. We were given 3 reasons, as I recall, that it wasn't appropriate to turn that area formally into part of our parks. Now, imagine that the land area we're talking about here is 1.13% of Burbank's land area. That's significant. And while the local folks know about it, people walk, hike, I've even biked it there and so forth, I think it should be included in our overall park universe in Burbank formally. Now, by dumb luck, it happened that decades ago, my father was buying some land for the company he worked for, and it used to be an old dump. And we had learned back then that dumps stop off-gassing about 50 years after the fact. 50 years after 1970 was 3 years ago. So I think we can work on this at this point. And this ties in to the second reason we were given, which I'll give you now the 3 reasons. One was that that area, part of it is used for storage for BWP. Simple solution, put a fence around the poles that they have. And it's a huge area, it's a tiny area. The second reason was the off-gassing and that the ground would buckle and would have to be repaved and so forth. So if the off-gassing has stopped 5 decades after the fact, that issue goes away. The third reason, which may be the heftiest from the point of view of having to resolve, was that that area contains a blue line stream, that there's federal permitting that has enabled us to do with it what we do currently, and that reopening that would be opening up a can of worms. But if indeed the 50-year thing is set, we should be able to approach that, to broach that, sorry. So I would hope that you could agendize this. If you're convinced that it's something that we should go forward with, I'd love to help out in any way I can. And let me see if I've forgotten any notes. Oh, that's it. It's okay, we can have another park in Burbank that's over 1% of our land area. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. We do appreciate it. Dominic Jolly. Hope I'm saying your name right. Dominic?
My last name is Solly, but it's okay.
Say that again for me.
Solly with an
Solly
S.
with an S.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Dominic.
That's all right. Good evening, Parks Board and City staff. My name is Dominic Solly. I'm a resident here in Burbank, and I'm passionate about the Starlight Bowl's success. Many of the people in this room and in the community have put blood, sweat, and tears into the success of the Starlight Bowl over the past half century, although further steps need to be made to ensure its success in the future. As the discussions further about cultural arts master plan, we hope that you take into consideration the cultural and economic impact that a vibrant amphitheater can have in our community. We have robust junior high and high school performance programs, but primary schools must scrap together funds for music programming. There's a tremendous opportunity for a vibrant venue to transcend a city, its residents, and students throughout our community. Other cities around Los Angeles and surrounding states have implemented business models that adapt to their respective communities and demographics, and I believe that we must do the same. The Starlight Bowl not only can have an economic impact, but more importantly, a cultural significance within our city and the surrounding communities. We hope as discussions further regarding the Cultural Arts Master Plan, you consider Starlight's future for decades to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Edith Miller.
Hi, good evening. My name is Edith Miller, and thank you for having me here today. So before I begin, I'd like to know if anybody here are pickleball players. Oh, there you go. So I would like to start by saying, as a Burbank resident since 1998, how myself and my family have enjoyed the benefits of our parks and recs. I took my children here when they were barely first and second grade to learn how to draw. Then off to Parks and Rec sports, and how these opportunities greatly benefited them, and they found lifelong friendships, parents as well, and life lessons. I myself had used the services of Parks and Recs for summer camps, to help with childcare, especially when they're on vacation. And now that the kids are grown and in college, I learned to begin to take care of myself and found great solace in the pottery classes offered through the Creative Arts Center. And I look forward every week to this class because I found it to be a release from a stressful job that I have, and I'm sure many of us share. And, instead of drinking wine and weeping, I found that trying to manipulate clay, even though I totally suck at it, something so far removed from what I do, is calming and wonderful. There is this joy that potters share and artists, that when our pieces come out of the kiln, having survived the firing, it's something beautiful, even though somebody must say, what is that? But to us, it's beautiful. So there's also this awesome community of potters and artists that come and share ideas and tips and all that stuff. So now I'm interested to know, has anyone done pottery or taken classes at the Arts Center? And I think this is why it was so disheartening over the past 2 months, when the class we all look forward to coming to had become a stressful event, even before we can get to the center. I take Tuesday night classes and have found it's almost impossible to park at the CAC. And even the street, we end up parking on the street past the grass area. Often we have to go past Disney Elementary or use the softball parking lot. We lug around over 25 pounds of clay, plus the bats for the pottery wheel, the tools we need, the glazes and all that stuff, and then the fragile work that we take home to fix. Even if we're parking in the parking lot, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 trips to get all our stuff in. Just imagine doing all that if you're parked really far away. The back and forth to our vehicles could take, for me, it was like almost 30 minutes if I'm not parked in the lot. And by the time we are done, we are exhausted, annoyed, and even angry at how is it possible that as paying customers of Parks and Recs for the classes, we cannot find parking. Oh my God, I have 3 seconds. So the current Band-Aid solution of no parking signs sometimes work or sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We heard you loud and clear, even though
Okay.
ran out of time. Thank you so much. Are there any, Dina, let's see, are there any comments, anyone who has called in? Dina, do we have anyone who's called in?
No, we have no callers this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Dina Moon. Do we have any written comments?
No written comments were received.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, in that case, thank you all for attending and sharing your thoughts. We'll close public comment period, but I do want to give an opportunity for my board members to be able to respond. Yes, Mr. DiPaolo.
Thank you. I was wondering, the area that Garden was talking about, I know that several years ago, there was a proposal to name a park after really the father of our department, Dewey Krugerberg. And I know they were thinking about some area up in there. Now, that's not the area we were talking about. No.
No.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. This is by Bel Air Park on towards,
This is over by the Fire Station 15, I believe.
right, okay. I thought it was further down on Bel Air, but I was mistaken. Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you. And the lady that just spoke, she'd be a great campaign for our department. Not all we offer, thank you for doing that. And, yeah, there is a problem with the parking, obviously. It's a good and bad thing. So, thank you for coming tonight, everybody that addressed the board.
Are there any other comments? Yes, Mr. Mercerlian.
Yeah, thank you, Garin, for coming. And I know the area you're talking about, and it is, seems like it could be a useful land to do something. So I don't know all the rules and regulations of everything that takes place there, but you pointed them out, so I think it's something worthwhile to potentially agendize or look at least explore. And at least we can do that. So I think that's something, thank you for bringing it to our attention, because I walk by it or drive by it very regularly. So seems like a piece of land that could be something, but again, would have to do a staff investigation, exploration, or whatever it may be. For the lady that came up, talked about the Creative Arts Center, I know there's gonna be a pickleball report later in the meeting, so I think that's one of the things that will be addressed. And I know I don't want to say we've moved mountains to get pickleball at the Olive over there in extended hours, but it's been quite the process to get to that point, and given the demand and everything like that. But I think that in talking to Diego there, he's brought up the parking situation, and we completely understand where you're coming from. And I think there's a resolution where both worlds can coexist. So I think it's just a matter of figuring out a solution. I know they've already put signs up and things like that. I think there's ways we can even go beyond that to make sure like there's designated parking or just very visible signage and whatnot, just to make it so that you guys, given all the reasons that you stated, have the opportunity to park there, given that you guys are paying for the class. And the people that play pickleball are generally, I'm not saying you guys aren't, but generally are, as Diego mentioned, they're dressed, ready to go. They have light stuff to carry, so they can definitely park at the ball fields or on the street or wherever. So I think there's a solution to be had there. I think we just have to figure out what that right solution is so both worlds can coexist. But I want to make sure you guys feel good about getting to your class, not making it a stressful event, and being your kind of peaceful enjoyment, but at the same time, continuing the success we've seen of the pickleball program and all the people that are enjoying it. And so I know there's a world that both can coexist. So I just want to bring that up.
Okay, I'll just add, thank you for the comments about the Starlight Bowl too. I do agree that there's a world of opportunity at the Starlight Bowl. It's been a discussion for us for quite some time, and finding budget to be able to do necessary upgrades. And so thank you for making your comments. It's definitely noted. And I'm so sorry you had to lug all of your equipment and clay and throughout the parking lot. That should not be the case. And it has come up to us, and we look forward to finding a solution. So thank you all for sharing your comments. They're noted, and look forward to the Parks and Rec team taking a look at all this. Yes.
And I just wanted to remind the board and the community that's here and watching from home that we are going to launch our citywide parks master plan, in which we will be addressing all of our park needs, which absolutely will be talking about opportunities to talk about the Starlight Bowl, to talk about Mr. Yukarian's, augmenting our open space and park, expanding our park, amenities and park space. So these are, while does not preclude the park board to further agendizing a discussion about specific items. Certainly these are absolutely, this park master plan process is the perfect avenue for our community to get engaged and involved, and let us and the board and the city council know what it is that we want in our community when it comes to parks. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so important to have two-way communication. I'm glad that that's an opportunity to be able to do so. So thank you very much. Well, following that, are there any park board updates or comments related to any liaison assignments? Or any updates that you want to share? Yes, Mr. Urban.
I attended the BAF, the Burbank Athletic Federation Board meeting on Tuesday. We did speak, we had a presentation by Jen Lev about pickleball. So we heard a lot about some of the parking issues. So we did discuss that. And I know that things are going to be, there'll be solutions coming. And it was a quick meeting, and it was, I forget what else we did, but I think that pickleball thing was like top of mind, so I just wanted to say that I know everybody is engaged, and that's something that we'll be dealing with going forward. Thank you.
Are there any other updates? I'll just share two. I really was pleased to see all the community events in October. I shared that I went to the Haunted Adventure. It really was spooky. It was spooky fun and just such a good time, I think, for people. But what I appreciated, which I didn't expect, is considering that there were 1,100 people, really moved people through very quickly. Made sure that the carnival outside of the Haunted Adventure was very engaging. It had lots of like ring tosses and face painting and music and dancing. Just lovely amount of fun. I met quite a few neighbors that I've seen before, quite a few new people, and it just created a sense of community. So thank you. Great job to the Parks and Rec team for leading that. I also went to the floating pumpkin patch. Even for non-swimmers, it was really fun. For people who didn't want to get in the water that day, I should say, it was really fun. But for people who were in the water, it was just a great deal of fun being able to grab pumpkins and enjoy each other. It was excellent for all ages. And that's something to note as well. I saw little babies splashing around, and I saw, too, the oldest of adults having a great time and doing the searches, and there was like little puzzles and identifying imagery on the walls, and I just thought it was really great for all ages. So again, a great job with engaging the community on that. And then lastly, I went to the Arts and Public Places Committee, and they selected a member to join ARA on the Johnny Carson Shade Structure group, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of that committee and that important shade structure in Johnny Carson Park. That's it for me. Okay, then we are moving on to new business. First item on the agenda is Art and Public Places Zone Text Amendment. I'd like to introduce Mr. Yusufoff. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Gamino and members of the board. My name is Emin Yusufoff. I'm the Administrative Analyst for the Parks and Recreation Department. Tonight, we have a presentation on the proposed Art and Public Places Ordinance Amendment. Before we begin, I will provide the board with a brief introduction on the matter. As some of you may be aware, the construction of the new airport terminal is fast approaching. The project is subject to the Art and Public Places Ordinance, where a developer is required to allocate funds towards a on-site public art installation. The staff and the airport authority have been working together to ensure the compliance with this ordinance, and the airport authority has notified staff that they intend to construct two art installations, one in the exterior of the plaza of the new terminal and one in the interior post-security area of the airport terminal, of the new airport terminal. Having the public artwork in the post-security areas of the new airport terminal would expose millions of passengers to public art, and it would enhance lives of Burbankians and visitors alike. However, having an artwork in the post-security area of the airport does not satisfy the express language of the ordinance in its current state. So staff have initiated a amendment to the Art and Public Places Ordinance, also known as Zone Text Amendment, which would add additional language to the ordinance qualifying post-security areas as to be part of the Art and Public Places artwork installation. Here with us tonight is Joseph Pagninan with the Planning Division of the Community Development Department, and he will provide more updates on the ZTA status to the board.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. My name is Joseph Pagninan. I am a associate planner with the Community Development Department. May I have this slide up, please? Thank you. Tonight, I will be introducing you guys to the Art and Public Places Zone Text Amendment to qualify the post-security interior areas of the Hollywood Burbank Airport as eligible places for public art. Next slide, please. So, here. A little bit of background on the ZTA. On November 8, 2016, the voters of Burbank approved Measure B, and Measure B approves the right to build a replacement terminal at the Hollywood Burbank Airport. The new terminal would enhance passenger experience and meet FAA safety standards. The replacement terminal project is dubbed Elevate BUR. It will enhance the passenger experience by providing new restaurants, concessions, restrooms, security, waiting areas, and as mentioned, new public art. As mentioned by Mr. Emin, the necessity for the zone text amendment is brought about since the current Art in Public Places ordinance does not classify post-security interior areas of the airport as eligible places for public art, since it's not deemed a publicly accessible place. The Art in Public Places ordinance has to be amended through a zone text amendment to qualify such areas as eligible places, eligible locations for public art. I'm going over the language to be added to the Art in Public Places ordinance. It's a very short sentence as that's shown here. The post-security interior areas of the airport accessible to ticketed passengers during normal business hours shall also qualify. So, how does this affect Parks and Recreation? The Parks and Rec Department is authorized to aid in, the developers in selecting and locating qualified artists for the public art project. Parks and Rec is authorized to assist with future public art projects in the airport as part of Elevate BUR. And as for next administrative steps, the city interdepartmental coordination is to ensure the project's consistency with city regulations. A planning commission public hearing is scheduled for December 11th, 2023. And the first reading of this of City Council for the ZTA is tentatively scheduled in late 2024. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Board members, are there any questions? Just really quickly, do we have a sense of what percentage the airport authority will do that's more public, that is currently public facing as currently defined versus in the post-security area?
So you're referring to like the exterior art?
Correct.
We don't have any percentages that we know of yet, because I think as of now, no proposals have been brought forward on the interior portion of it. So that would theoretically kind of decide what percentage is which.
Okay, and so the 50% could be internal or external, though, correct? Thank you.
I can answer that. So per ordinance, at least 50% of the art allocation needs to be dedicated for an exterior artwork, and the remainder may be allocated towards an interior artwork.
Okay, and so this amendment doesn't necessarily change that, it just allows for the opportunity to put.
Correct. There are no changes to the amendment other than adding that one sentence that Joseph has outlined
Thank
in
you
his
for that
presentation.
clarification, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks. Yes, please.
For the interior artwork, is there limitations on what that could be? Is it a mural on a wall? Is it a sculpture? Is it what kind of? Just more out of curiosity, what type of? I guess what would the airport authority allow?
It depends on the proposals that the airport authority receives. Again, they have their own internal process that they go through. They have their own internal request for proposals that their commission reviews, and then whatever it is that the commission chooses would be presented to staff for further review, and then would be brought forward to the Art and Public Places Committee.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Okay, moving to the next agenda item, DeBell Golf Course Annual Report. Can I have Ms. Moon share an update?
Good evening, Chairmember Gamino and members of the board. My name is Dina Moon, Senior Administrative Analyst with the Parks and Recreation Department. Tonight, along with Sean White, General Manager of the DeBell Golf Course, we will be presenting the DeBell Golf Course Annual Report for fiscal year 2022-2023. If we could start. slide, thank you. On December 12, 2018, the city entered into an agreement with Touchstone Golf LLC to manage the golf course operations. As outlined in the agreement, Touchstone is eligible to earn an incentive fee based on increases and improvements in the annual net operating income of the golf course, should it exceed $300,000. I'm pleased to share that DeBell met this threshold again this year with a year-end net operating income of just over $1.3 million for fiscal year 2022-2023. Oh, sorry, guys. Tonight's presentation will focus on golf operations, rounds of play, golf course maintenance, golf instruction, capital improvement projects, marketing, food and beverage operations, private events and tournaments, and revenue highlights. Overall, Touchstone continues to be a great partner and continues to leverage their expertise in implementing improvements throughout the golf course, including staffing, equipment, operations, and customer service. The city continues to receive positive feedback regarding maintenance and aesthetics of the golf course, as well as other areas, including the most recently renovated cart paths and some sand bunkers, which has significantly improved playability for golfers. As you will see in the presentation, several enhancements have been made to increase the overall customer experience. There was an overall decrease of rounds of play this past fiscal year, largely due to the substantial rain experienced in spring. And because of this excessive rainfall, DeBell Golf Course had to pivot in order to remain open. As you can see by these photos, several of the areas on the course were temporarily closed until debris was removed from the area to resume normal rounds of golf. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Sean White, the General Manager of the DeBell Golf Course, and he will go over the highlights for fiscal year 2022-23.
All right, thank you. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Sean White, General Manager at DeBell Golf Club. If I could have the slideshow. Perfect. So the capital improvement projects that went on during fiscal year 2022-2023 included the cart paths that were installed on several holes, so holes 5, 6, 7, and 9 of DeBell previously did not have any cart paths or had dirt paths, as you see in the picture here. After the work was completed, those 4 holes had all cement cart paths. So these cart paths not only help the aesthetic of the course, but they also will help keep the fairways in better condition, as well as keeping the carts in better condition as they have a smooth surface to drive on and not over the bumpy terrain of the dirt paths that were previously there. Along with the cart paths that were improved, we redid 32 greenside bunkers on the course. With the new bunkers, they have a new Tour Pro sand, which is very nice quality, high quality sand. Previously, the bunkers had a much grainier sand and a lot of rocks would come up from beneath. During the project, they properly lined and put drainage in the new bunkers. So as you see here, the brand new sand not only again brings aesthetic to the course, but a lot more playability. Along with the new sand, several of the bunkers were restructured. So on multiple holes, there used to be a large lip protecting the green, and those lips were taken down. After COVID, golf saw a very high number of new golfers come in, and removing those more difficult sand traps were in part to allow those new golfers to have a bit easier time getting out of them. In the Hilltop restaurant, there were sliding doors installed between the Sierra room, which is our smaller event space, that divides that from the main restaurant. What this does is it allows us for larger events to open up the space together. Before, it was a lot more closed off. You only had one single door to transfer in between the rooms, and now the whole wall will open up. So it's a very big benefit for larger groups like weddings, birthdays. It just makes everything one nice unit. Looking forward, a couple of the capital improvement projects we're looking to do is add a shade structure on the driving range. So that will allow for summer golf especially to be a lot cooler. That driving range, if it's 100 degrees, it feels about 120 out there on that blacktop. So having the shade structure will really allow golfers during the day to be able to practice without just getting the sun beat down on them. We'll also be adding netting and replacing old netting on several holes, including hole 7, and then down by the par 3 on Sunset. Another thing that DeBell is going to be doing is finishing the irrigation project that was completed on the back 9 several years ago, and the front 9 still has to be redone, so that's another project that DeBell will be moving forward with in the near future. For marketing and promotions, so we do have a new Director of Sales, Beth Byron. She has been here at DeBell for about 4 months now. She's been doing a great job of getting everything together as far as ramping up the social media posts, blasting out emails, any type of in-house events that we have, getting those out to the public and making the course more known to bring more public in. Another way that the course is marketed is through Golf Now on the golf side. It's a third-party booking website. It's very popular among golfers to go on there, and it has multiple courses, so it's easy to find DeBell on there, and they can book straight through that third-party website, or it will direct them to our website. Along with the social media blasts and email blasts, what DeBell likes to do is on our golf carts we have signage. So anytime we have an in-house event, such as we just had Boo at the Bell a couple weeks ago, Halloween event, we're going to be having as you saw earlier, a Thanksgiving split tee tournament, a public event. So we'll be posting that anytime we have events like that, or Breakfast with Santa. Those will be posted throughout the course so the golfers and customers see that. For the food and beverage operations, hours of operation, we have beginning at 7 a.m. There's a grab-and-go breakfast that customers can order in the pro shop through an iPad with one of the starters. And then the main dining service, Monday through Thursday, opens at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And Friday through Sunday is 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. DeBell is looking to introduce more weekly specials and also looking to implement a happy hour to increase afternoon customers in the restaurant. We do have a new food and beverage director that was just hired. Her name is Ariana Myers, so we're really looking to work with her to get everything with the restaurant and make it a place that the community wants to come. For special and private events, so we do have several in-house events. Like I stated earlier, with the Thanksgiving shotgun, we have a Christmas Eve shotgun, there's Breakfast with Santa. So there are several in-house events that DeBell holds, as well as any events that the public may want to book. They can book through our Director of Sales. In fiscal year 2022-2023, DeBell saw 150 events totaling just shy of 10,000 total guests between those events. On the tournament side, this slide just shows all the in-house events that we've had and the numbers that we saw last year. So Easter brunch, Mother's Day brunch are very popular. Brunch with Santa again, and all the in-house tournaments that we hold. For tournaments, between tournaments and private events, last fiscal year, DeBell saw a 38% increase over the previous 2021-22 fiscal year. Multiple tournaments, whether it's the local high schools, charities, any public that wants to book tournaments is more than welcome to. We highly encourage it. And it's a great way to bring the community together, whether it's an in-house tournament or more of a private event that third parties book through us. The Touchstone Golf Foundation is a great charitable foundation. that DeBell utilizes to raise money for charities as well as local high schools in junior golf. So since 2019, DeBell has raised over $25,000 towards those charities, junior golf, and high school programs. DeBell does this by an event called Hit the Green, where several times a month we'll have one of our ambassadors on the tee box of one of our par threes. People will donate, and if they land inside the circle on the par three, they win a prize. Usually it's a sleeve of balls. If they don't, then they just know that their donation went to a very good cause. We also hold several raffles where Touchstone Golf Foundation works with, whether it's Callaway, TaylorMade, they'll donate a driver or a putter. So we just finished a raffle for a brand new Callaway driver. So we collect donations for a raffle ticket. And then at the end of the raffle, we'll draw a name, and whoever's name is drawn gets the brand new driver. Thank you very much for your time. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Ms. Moon.
Thank you, Sean. If I can get the slides, please. All right, I'd like to highlight DeBell's continued strong performance and revenue for fiscal year 2022-2023. Notably, as Sean mentioned, there was a 38% increase to private events and tournaments, a 15% increase to driving range sales, as well as an increase of just under 6% to the green fees. As mentioned earlier, due to inclement weather for a longer than usual period, DeBell still managed to increase revenues just under 1% overall for fiscal year 2022-2023 compared to the previous year. And in its 5th year of operation, the city continues to foster a strong partnership with Touchstone. Touchstone has proven to be an expert operator and has improved operations, aesthetics, efficiencies, and customer service. Touchstone provides quality golf programming and dining experience while increasing revenue and completing maintenance and improvement projects. And this concludes our report, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Board members, do you have any questions? Yes, Mr. Serling.
Excuse me. Kind of, I guess, non-golf related, but more venue related. It's a good problem to have because every time I go there, it's like unfortunately, I haven't been able to golf recently as much, but we do enjoy the restaurant there. But every time we go, every time I've gone, there's never parking in the parking lot, and then you got to go pretty high up that hill. And if you have like seniors with you or young kids, sometimes it gets a little tough. So I guess my question is, first of all, good problem to have that it's always busy, so congratulations on that. But have you guys, and this is wild, and I don't even know the rules, I don't know if this is normal, but have you guys ever considered a valet service or dedicated parking just for restaurant attendees? Just because sometimes, I don't think I've ever actually been able to park in the lot. If you go there like at noon for lunch, there's like never once have there been parking.
Yeah, so DeBell has always had a big issue with the parking, and if anybody's been up there for golf or the restaurant like yourself, that's not something that I know that has been explored before, but that's something we can definitely look into. Maybe mainly for private events. I know that it's been requested in the past, but for just general use, that's definitely something we can look into.
Yes, Ms. Durbin.
Thank you. Just to piggyback on Ara's comment, so being down 25% in the food and beverage sales, like what do you attribute the drop, like that significant of a drop to?
So that significant of a drop. So I am not too familiar with the previous fiscal year just because I started in July.
Right.
So that's something that I can definitely look into for you and get back to you on that.
Okay, because you're only open till 6 ever, correct?
During the winter months, 6, and then during summer it's 7. Yep.
It's 7, but it's basically, so it's not a dinner destination, it's basically a lunch or
Correct, yeah.
early evening, late afternoon.
Correct.
It used to be later though, right?
In the past it was.
Okay, and then, so as far as marketing, I see a ton of social about weddings,
Mhm.
and I see that that was a huge increase, and that's mainly what I see on social
Right.
and tournaments to a certain degree. For marketing, is it just the director of sales that does your marketing? And then Park and Rec does a little bit as well?
So we have a director of sales, and then we just have another staff member who's assisting her with the marketing. So it's really just the two of them, and then anything that's city, a city event, the city will post out as
So
well.
it's not really a marketing team that does like a marketing calendar for the year
Correct.
to market DeBelle and the restaurant or.
Right. It's just our director of sales who does the marketing.
Would that be
for us.
something that you'd look into doing, just
Definitely, yeah.
because it's such a beautiful venue, and I often just, like, I don't see the problem that you see with it being so busy all the time. I think maybe I go later, not lunchtime. When I've been up there, it'll usually be if I get off early from work and can go do a little bit of golf and then, go to the restaurant after, and it's like really lightly
Yeah.
trafficked at that point.
So marketing not only towards events, but marketing towards the restaurant in general is something that we're definitely pushing more
Awesome.
for in the future, yeah.
Yeah, because I think you're killing it on the weddings.
Yeah.
But it'd be great if we could also do the
Move
golf
that
in the
over to,
restaurant.
yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Are there any additional comments, board members? Yes, Mr. DiPaolo?
One thing that I've gotten feedback from people is that the restaurant hours, I know you said they're open till 6 or open till 7, is that the hours are inconsistent. Sometimes I go there and it's closed. I don't know if that's in the past or.
That may have been more in the past. So the kitchen closes 30 minutes before the restaurant itself closes. But typically, unless there's a private event, the restaurant will be open until those hours.
Now, in the mornings, you said you just do a grab and go for breakfast for.
Correct. So if golfers in the earlier morning, when the restaurant itself isn't open, they can order with the pro shop staff.
And what time does the restaurant open on, in the mornings?
Weekdays is 9 a.m., weekends is 8 a.m.
Okay. You never thought of opening early when you're getting a lot of,
That's definitely something that we're exploring.
that's, I myself, as a golfer, I'd take advantage of that.
Yeah.
If I had a tee off time at 6, at 7, and you opened at 6:30, I'd be up there or 6:15
Yeah.
even, and have a little breakfast.
Yeah, so that- the
some
hours of
camaraderie
operation.
and stuff. And I think it's great about the weddings, and the VFW, we did a tournament up there on September 29th, and you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Really made us feel welcome, and so I commend you on that. And
Thank you.
I think you might have a lot less rainouts with the new cart pass, and the sand area. I think that looks great, what you
Yeah.
did there. So you're making a lot of improvements,
Yeah,
and
thank
the
you.
course looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's in great shape.
Yeah, thank you
Maintenance
for
is
your
doing a great
report.
job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next update is the pickleball program update. Ms. Lev?
All right, hello. Good evening, Chair Gamino and members of the board. My name is Jennifer Lev, Recreation Services Manager over Sports and Aquatics and Pickleball. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the slide here. All right, so for tonight, I'm going to provide an update on the pickleball program that we've discussed at the past June 2023 Park Board meeting. The update will include a review of the next steps discussed at our previous meeting, including the needs assessment in the form of a survey, community engagement, implementing a plan of action, overall evaluation, and future recommendations. As we continue to engage in the expansion of pickleball, our mode of progress continues to be one that is intentional, well thought out with measured progression. Though this does make often for a slower process, it's important for us as a department to understand the impact and implications on how we grow this program and grow it responsibly. As discussed at the previous meeting, the department launched a pickleball survey aimed at understanding the pickleball community's need and how to best address that need responsibly. The survey launched on June 20th, collecting 395 responses over a 30-day period. The survey was available on the city's website and emailed out to the department's registered contact lists for pickleball and tennis users. A scannable QR code link to the survey was posted at the entrance of each court at the Olive Park, as well as shared on the city's social media platforms, including Facebook and Instagram. Of the 395 responses submitted, 57% of those respondents identified as Burbank residents, while the remaining 43% did not identify as living in Burbank. 86% of respondents identified as members of the pickleball community, 11% identified as tennis players, and 3% neither identified as pickleball or tennis players. The survey resulted in an overwhelming level of support at 91% of respondents to expand the current availability to play pickleball in Burbank, which aligns closely with the number of pickleball respondents that were involved in the survey. Following the survey results, the department drafted a plan to pilot the expansion of the pickleball hours on the Olive Courts at George Isay from 3 days a week for a total of 9 hours to 7 days a week for 49 hours. This evenly divided and distributed the available hours of play at Olive Courts between pickleball and tennis. The pilot schedule also designated group play to Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings from 9 to 2 and Tuesday and Thursday evenings from 4:30 to 9:45. The new outline schedule was proposed to start on September 1st through November. The proposed schedule was posted on the courts from July 1st through August 31st, with additional information and opportunities to provide feedback. During this time, the Burbank Tennis Center hosted its inaugural 2-day pickleball tournament, while the department continued to actively engage with the tennis community. A community outreach meeting for the tennis community was held on Saturday, August 12th at the Olive Recreation Center, and based on discussions from that meeting, additional public drop-in use for tennis play was designated at Verdugo Parks, moving scheduled tennis lessons that were there to Burbank Tennis Center. The proposed piloted court schedule for tennis and pickleball on the Olive Courts was launched on Friday, September 1st, and continues through Monday, November 20th. With the expanded pickleball hours on the Olive Courts, the program also saw a new influx of participation, and attendance numbers grew at all offered times. Maxim Memorial Park pickleball courts continued to see pockets of congestion, as was occurring prior to the expansion of the hours at Olive. The increase in attendance during group play hours had a significant impact on parking lots closest to the courts, which is also the closest parking lot for the Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center. This prompted additional community engagement meetings to connect with the Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center patrons to understand their challenges and propose some possible solutions. Additionally, expanded pickleball hours and group play have resulted in the department augmenting facility attendant staff hours, an additional 4 days a week for setup and breakdown of the shared pickleball equipment. Olive Recreation Center staff have also been able to assist in mitigating complaints and enforcing court rules that happen there. Overall, the piloted schedule and expansion of pickleball on the Olive Courts at George Isay Park have been tremendously popular amongst pickleball enthusiasts. Unsurprisingly, pickleball's courts attract players from all over the Los Angeles County region and beyond, with Burbank being considered one of the best free and open courts in LA County. Quite a bragging point. However, in the same breath, resulting in large crowds, extended wait times, and parking congestion. It should be noted that we continue to experience high attendance rates also at Maxim Memorial Pickleball Courts. From here, the department recommends continuing to pilot the expanded pickleball hours for an additional 6 months, bringing us to April of 2024, with some minor adjustments to allow for some shared use between pickleball and tennis during non-peak hours. The department will work to continue to mitigate the parking lot congestion in front of the Betsy Lukey Arts Center, continuing to request pickleball patrons to utilize the ball field lot on the corner of Clark Avenue and Griffith Drive, located just about 700 feet from the courts. The department will also continue to evaluate and make adjustments during this next period to determine how best to meet the needs of not just the pickleball community, but all the park goers at the Olive Park. Reporting back here to the Park Board in April of 2024. The department will further assess the needs of the community through the continued development of a citywide park master plan and the completion of facility needs assessments. Currently, the department has reprioritized a pickleball complex as part of the fiscal year 2024-2025 citywide infrastructure unfunded needs list. This provides the department with an inventory of future projects within a 5-year period to consider as funds, staff, and city resources become available. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Park Board? Yes. Thank you so much. What does a pickleball facility entail? Like you said a pickleball complex.
So that can be imagined in a couple different ways, but essentially your pickleball courts look very similar to your tennis courts. In terms of what that pickleball facility would look like, it's where your imagination lies at this time. So there's no plan currently in place of what exactly that complex would look like. Thank you.
Do you have a comment? Mr. Sterling.
Thank you. Obviously, as a pickleball player, enthusiast, been a part of the Burbank pickleball community for about 4 years now. This is something close to my heart. I know the pickleball community in Burbank very well. So I appreciate everything the staff has done to bring this pilot program to life and extending it. Obviously, we've seen it be a huge success, as we all had anticipated it would be. It has, on the nights that, there's a lot in my mind, so I'm trying to organize all my thoughts, but on the nights that we have Olive open, we've seen the congestion at Maxim decrease, which is great, so that way it's kind of been evening out a little bit. Obviously now you have 8 courts at Olive versus the 4 at Maxim, so it just offers a lot more opportunities. I think the situation, the parking with the Creative Arts Center is an unfortunate effect of what's happening, but I think, as I mentioned, there's ways to coexist, and we've seen pickleball just be super successful. It gets people out active, so I think we can talk about what that can look like as a resolution. Stricter parking measures or designated parking spots, whatever the case may be. But I do want to encourage anybody that's following this, watching this, my fellow pickleball players and community, to please adhere to those. And, we worked hard to get to this point. We'd hate to lose out on this pilot program simply because we didn't follow parking instructions and are hurting our art community. So I definitely want to make sure we follow those instructions and we park by the ball field and park on the street, whatever it may be. So I just wanted to throw that out there. One thing I do want to, just as a comment, is definitely I'd love to one day see, because we've got so many tennis courts and we're a little bit more limited in what we could do with pickleball, given the sound issues. We can't be as in residential areas. So I think, hopefully expanding pickleball permanently at Olive is something I'd love to see, once this program concludes, the pilot program, and obviously that there's steps into that, but I'd like to see it going from a pilot program to finally being a permanent program, then potentially being permanent courts. And I know it's stuff we're talking about with the master plans and the unfunded needs list and whatnot. I do want to say, though, still that I do think the Burbank Tennis Center is a missed opportunity for pickleball. I know they've got 2 lined pickleball courts there, but you can't really play pickleball there. You can't reserve it, really. It's only available 1 hour. There's no group play other than in the mornings that one person runs it. It's just very, very big missed opportunity. You've got a huge tennis complex. That's what it's there for. So I still think we need to look into that. I know that we're also talking to the school district about a potential joint use with one of the middle schools, which would be great. So definitely appreciate the work that you guys are doing to get this on the unfunded needs list and expand it, because I think there's just a great opportunity. And as you can see, it's people are coming out, and I know we do need to be mindful of thinking about our residents first and foremost. So let's continue to evaluate what this looks like. I know some other cities are implementing, because of the influx of people they're getting, they're looking at some other opportunities or options of reserve, pay to play kind of a thing. So I know we're not there, and we were offering for free, which is great. But let's just continue to monitor the numbers and how it's affecting everyone. But I just, I love what you guys are doing, so thank you. I don't have any further questions per se, but I just wanted to throw all those comments out there.
Yeah, great. Thank you for those comments.
Ms. Durbin.
Thank you. I wanted to say great job. I mean, we had, I don't know how long ago it was when the community came and we had a very full room here and, you know, it was really passionate. And I think the department did a really great job hearing the community, the pickleball community in particular, and were very thoughtful and intentional about how they did the research and reacted pretty quickly to come up with a solution. So I think it's been fantastic in that way. I think Maxim is still busy. I don't see it letting up when I've been there, you know, even though we have Olive, but I don't know, hopefully maybe. And but I just really wanted to be clear. I think that you guys did an excellent job because I know it's really difficult to make everybody happy in the community. And this can be a real hot button. So kudos to the staff. And I still would like to see, I mean, I'm an enthusiast as well, but I do think that your process has been, you know, it's been a huge success. So kudos to the department.
First, Mr. DiPaolo.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, Mr. DiPaolo.
Thank you for the wonderful report, Jen. You know, I myself, I know that I was kind of disappointed to see only 11% were tennis players. And if decisions are going to have to be made, you know, we do community outreach meetings possibly. I would encourage you to have some at the tennis center and let them, you know, have a say in that way. Then they can't come back, or the pickleball players likewise can't come back and say, well, we didn't know we were going to do this. It just, you know, we had community meetings for the skate park. We had community meetings for the Johnny Carson Park. So I think that's really important, and I'm sure you'll do that. I don't really, you know, as far as, I think we have areas in the city where we could put pickleball courts. I'd rather have tennis center be the tennis center. This is my opinion. I think that's a designated area. That's what it was built for several years ago. And, or if there would be an area at McCambridge possibly. You know, I know there's green space and things of that nature. But I think the tennis program needs their identity as the pickleball program does. I think it's, and I think they can coexist much better. But once again, thank you for the report.
Absolutely. And just to respond for that one, so leading up to the implementation of the piloted schedule we have now, we did reach out to our tennis community, especially those that would be directly affected by implementing a new schedule at Olive. So even though they may not have been represented in the survey, they did come and represent themselves at our community meeting that we had prior to implementing that schedule, and worked directly with them as we knew that this would directly affect their involvement and their participation as they were the regular users of that facility.
Right. So, quick question on that. Has there been any kind of disagreement out there with the tennis players and the pickleball players, like on Sundays or whenever there's?
Very minimal. So there has been some conflict, but none that hasn't been able to be resolved in the moment.
Good.
And having staff there on site in the rec center has been very useful to step in and help mitigate that.
So as a person in the rec center would come out?
Yes.
And?
Yeah. So how it's happened is if there was like an instant where there was some type of conflict happening on the courts, that individual typically makes their way into the building and lets staff know, hey, we're having an issue on the courts, can you come help us out? And that facility attendant typically goes out there at that time.
Okay, quick question, is one person working in the recreation center when they go out and handle the problem?
Depends on the time. If it's on the weekends, it would be one person. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, during the week, there's more than one person there, but also depending on the hours too.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
If I can add, a great presentation, Jennifer. On the signage that we have at the pickleball courts, because this is a pilot program, we still have the opportunity for community, both tennis and pickleball, to give us feedback on the implementation recommendations. That's one. To your earlier point about doing further engagement at the Burbank Tennis Center, we early on asked the operator of the tennis center to please get the information out and the QR code and the surveys. And so we really relied on him to help us spread the word of the surveys. So we did multiple approaches on how we got the information out. And that community meeting that we had with the people that actually play at Olive, particularly on Saturdays and Sundays, that was a community meeting of between 12 and 15 players from all walks of life, folks that have been playing for 40 years, right? Folks that just moved into the neighborhood and families that are also utilizing that park for tennis. So to Jen's credit, a very little conflict as far as, the implementation phase. There's always going to be paths that are crossing and things that we have to work and finesse. And Jen is still very actively involved in mitigating those challenges. Now that we've kind of softened the or we've allocated space equitably, and now really it's about addressing the concerns of a Creative Arts Center, the Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center, and really working with that community to ensure that we're not creating undue congestion. And there's certain strategies that we have in our back pocket that we could potentially implement, but first we want to work as our Mr. Marzelian has mentioned, work on compliance, work on education before we exercise other methods or strategies to help gain that compliance.
Thanks to the sports staff and Jen for working so hard on that. Thank you.
Ms. Durbin.
Just one quick follow-up for you, Diego. On the signage that's posted for feedback at Olive, is it like a QR code or is it a phone number or what is it?
It's an email address.
Email address, okay.
So there's all three. So there's a QR code, there's a phone number, and there's an email address.
Perfect. That makes it very easy. Thank you.
I just have two quick questions. 43% of the 43% of the respondents did not identify as living in Burbank.
That's correct.
Was it that they live in other cities, or they just did not respond to that question?
No, they live in other cities.
That's a significant amount. Do we see that in other sports as well?
Not as much. So like I had mentioned, pickleball in Burbank is very popular. We have beautiful courts, we have staff on site, we have a community that's very nice and plays nicely with each other. So for those reasons, we see people coming from everywhere. The other day I was out there and I met a woman who had come all the way from Palisades to come play here in Burbank. Another individual who had come from Arcadia to come play here in Burbank. If you were to Google pickleball in the San Fernando Valley or pickleball in LA County, Burbank pickleball courts show up first. And they're 5-star ratings here, 5-star ratings there, highly desirable. I think it speaks to our neighboring cities and counties that they are lacking the amount of resources, and Burbank is on the forefront of making those resources a priority. And so because of that, it's really drawing in a lot of people. And then on the other hand, that's a part of the sport as well. It's a very communal sport. And so a sport like that is really going to bring in friends, and you have friends from, all areas of the region. So it's going to bring people in from all over.
I can absolutely appreciate that. I can also, I also heard last time that when we heard our pickleball community come out saying that at least there's some importance in making sure we prioritize residents as well. How are we doing that?
So right now, there's nothing set in place that prioritizes a residents over non-residents for the use of the courts.
Okay.
There is some consideration of a reservation system or something along those lines that could be considered in the future if we want to move in that direction of prioritizing that, or putting some constraints or limits around the capacity of what the courts and the park can hold.
Okay, that's very helpful. And then what efforts are we making regarding the parking, since you noted that as well?
Yeah, so the first efforts we've made is trying to engage in that educational piece. So we had 2 different community meetings with our Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center patrons to understand what their challenges were. And similar to what we heard this evening, having to park really far, having to walk a long distance, having to carry heavy materials was a lot that was brought to the fore, as well as the boutique that's going to be coming up. Their concerns if people aren't able to park near the facility, is that going to hinder people from coming into our boutiques? So those were some of the things that we heard. So we first wanted to take the approach of education. Let's educate our pickleball community and let them know, although you guys are very focused on pickleball and the facilities that we have here, this is also a shared parking lot with the the playground, with the rec center, as well as the Betsy Leakey Creative Arts Center. And so engaging with our pickleball folks through our ambassadors, as well as signage, emails, we did a social media post. So we're really working through that engagement piece first. We have seen some compliance and coordination with our pickleball folks, but we're continuing to engage in that. There's some other strategies, as Diego had mentioned, that should this not work in the positive light, which we're trying to direct it, there's some opportunities for possibly a loading zone, designating certain area of that parking lot as a loading zone, possibly looking at designated certain spots, putting in a reservation system to lower the amount of people that are there for pickleball. So those are some of the things that will be considered should this educational piece not be successful.
Okay, well, thank you so much for doing that, for taking a look at this matter. Also, I just want to thank the team, the Parks and Rec team, for doing this quick survey. I know that was a time constraint and really making sure that happened quite quickly and responding, so thank you for doing so. And for continuing to look into the residents and also parking situation. Yes, do you have a question?
Sorry, I should have asked this earlier, but it just came to my mind. One of the big concerns about the courts there are the lighting situation. It is the older lights, they're relatively dim-ish, whereas Maxim has the beautiful, nice LED. I mean, they're perfectly lit. Can you educate me on what steps would need to be taken to do a potential light upgrade for those courts? Because it's playable, but not optimal, let's just say. So it does get dark, and it's tough to see sometimes with like that really dim yellow light. So just let me know what steps you need to take to kind of have a light upgrading.
I can take that question. Thank you so much. So as you noted, previous to the LED lights being retrofitted at Maxim, we had the same style of lights. Our Public Works Department does have an inventory of all of our parkway lights and sports courts lights. And it's a big priority for the department to move into LED style lights. So it's definitely something that's in our Public Works radar. And as funds become available and we can prioritize projects, we are looking to move all of our sports courts to offer LED lights. Now, I can't say what that time horizon is at this moment, but it's definitely something that we are looking at actively as we modernize our ball field lights. That's a big priority. But hopefully by the end of this year, early next year, we're going to be completing a light modernization project at McCambridge Park. Both ball fields will get LED lights. And so that is definitely a park project that is on the horizon.
There being no further comments, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next update is the capital improvement project mid-year update. Ms. Moon.
Hello, and thank you, Chairmember Gamino and members of the board. Dina Moon, Senior Administrative Analyst with the Parks and Recreation Department. I will be presenting our annual capital improvement project submissions for fiscal year 2024-2025. Great, thank you. Annually, the department evaluates the unfunded needs list, which includes projects such as playgrounds, shade structure replacements, facility maintenance and improvements, as well as identifying additional funding for continuing CIP projects. The department considers the board's feedback from the annual, that's provided during the annual facilities tour. And, the department assessed and prioritized the needs for fiscal year 2024 and 2025 and has identified 7. Additional funding for the ball field lighting modernization project at Schaefer Park. This funding includes infrastructure work, conduits, underground wiring, and design work. Additional funding for the Verdugo basketball backboard replacement project. This funding is required for the wall reinforcements for the newer, heavier electronic backboards. Waterproofing the Jocelyn Adult Center. This includes the design, repair, and restoration of all water intrusion-related deficiencies related to the building, including all walls, windows, doors, and flooring in the facility, in the cyber cafe, TV room, auditorium, and nutrition kitchen. Playground replacements at Maple Street and McCambridge Parks. These two parks are on the scheduled replacement list due to reaching its useful life. The George Isay Master Plan for fiscal year 2024-2025 will focus on the design development phase. Ball field lighting modernization project at Robert Gross Park. This will modernize the ball field lighting with energy efficient LED systems. And Olive Park ball field shade structures at fields 1, 2, and 4. And this will complete the shade structures at all of the Olive Park ball fields. And each year, the items that are not included in the CIP submission process are included on the citywide infrastructure unfunded needs list. This list prioritizes projects for the next 5 and 10 years. While these projects have been identified as a priority for the department, funding is not currently available. Our department has the following submittals for fiscal year 2024-2025. Our 5-year list includes the Jocelyn Adult Center waterproofing structure, McCambridge Park pool renovation, pickleball court complex, George Isay Park master plan, Verdugo aquatic facility pool slide replacement. And on our 10-year list, we have the Starlight Bowl renovation, Valley Skate Park expansion, Mary Alvord Recreation Center and Verdugo aquatic facility renovation, Tuttle Senior Center renovation, and the DeBell Clubhouse expansion. As you can see, pickleball is now prioritized on our unfunded needs list for this upcoming fiscal year based on feedback from our facility tour and the needs of our community. And this concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Board members, do you have any questions? Okay, there being none, thank you so much for your report.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, moving to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine by department staff and may be enacted on by the board in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items before the board votes. We may remove any items, though, from the consent calendar. This includes the approval of minutes, the city council agenda items update, contract compliance, park patrol report, aquatics annual update, department operations update. So, unless anyone wants to remove anything, then I'd like to call for a motion to approve the consent calendar as is. Yes, Mr. Poole. Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Okay. The ayes have it. Aye. Thank you so much. And are there any tabled items? No, I see none. Are there any additional comments from the board? None? Oh, yes, Mr. Vitale.
I'd be remiss, I went to didn't make it to the haunted adventure, unfortunately. I'll go next year. But I did go to McCambridge and observed their wonderful Halloween festivities over there. And Noah and Dave and David Montero and all the people over there that really did a great job. Dave Mudgett is very creative, and he once again came through, and it was just really a wonderful display, and they had a good crowd. They were all waiting to get in there at 6:30, and once again, congratulations to the entire staff on a great job. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Oh,
yes.
One more. And everybody, tomorrow, as was mentioned earlier tonight, the city does observe Veterans Day tomorrow, and we'll be at the Cambridge Park War Memorials the ceremony starts at 11 a.m. sharp itself, but then at 10:15 we have some patriotic music from the Burbank Community Band, so everybody's invited to attend. And we won't be there on the 11th, on the Veterans Day, but tomorrow we will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DiPaolo. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to our veterans for their most respected service. across our nation and our community. Also, you, Mickey, thank you for your service, your ongoing service, even on this board, and your continued service throughout our community. So thank you to all of our veterans, and I'm so grateful for everything that you've done and all the sacrifice, and your families as well. So thank you. Yes, Mr. Mercerlian.
Yeah, definitely echoing what Maisha, Chair. Maisha said. Sorry. But I do want to just do a very, very quick shout out because we did go to the Hot Knit Adventure, and I know the staff was here as well as the volunteers, but just really wanted to shout out. If you guys have an internal meeting, please pass this sentiment along that, I notice, because I work in marketing and events and all this kind of stuff, and so I notice a lot of stuff. And one thing I noticed was the staff really provided a white glove service to patrons. It was a long, steep way to go up, dark. I mean, they really went out of their way to have flashlights and care for people. I saw it many, many times, and they didn't necessarily need to do all that, but they really went out of their way to make sure like everybody was safe and the experience was good. And like, if we went up there, like instead of having them walk down, they're like, we have a group that just left. We can get you into this group so you don't have to walk all the way back down. So just like little things like that they go a long way. And I noticed a lot of those things. So definitely just want to make sure you guys, on top of the recognition they give, just give an extra special shout out to them for that, for giving that what I call white glove service. So thank you.
Yes, Mr. DiPaolo.
Sorry, but I also, as far as all the extra mile they went on Halloween, that's the way this department does everything. We had a great report tonight on the pickleball courts, and whatever the public proposes, we definitely try to act on it and to give them the best possible service we can. That's the history of this department, and makes me proud to be on this board when I see all these wonderful reports and all the great things we hear about the haunted adventure and everything else. But that's Burbank Park and Recreation Department. That's why we're cutting edge, and that's why people come from, Palos Verdes to play pickleball. So I think we need to brag on ourselves a little bit. Thank you.
Okay. Park board members, do you have any additions to the agenda? None? Okay, perfect. Well, then with that, we will adjourn our meeting in honor of Chris Rushing, president of the Condor Squadron Association and Airmen's Association. And it's certainly apt given that we are recognizing Veterans Day tomorrow. Chris recently passed away after winning the gold race at the National Championship Air Races in Reno. He led the Condor Squadron and its mission to preserve our military's aviation heritage, specifically flying in honor of our veterans. Mr. Rushing was a California National Guard's aircraft mechanic. He shared with the Orange County Register in an article that the Condor Squadron's work and flights were a heartfelt tribute to military veterans, and shared his deep privilege of honoring our veterans. Mr. Rushing's work will continue through the dedication of the Condor Squadron, and we thank him so much for being dedicated to that important work. And we adjourn in his name. Thank you so much. We're adjourned. Thanks.